Welcome to the Bike Talk with Dave podcast. Thanks for tuning in. I'm your host, Dave Mabel, and you likely haven't heard of this week's guest. Unless, of course, you have been racing in the Des Moines area for the past 10 years, or maybe you're on the Lindenwood University cycling team. Anyway, this week's guest is Brody Burnham, who began racing when he was 8 years old. He was a short, chubby kid whose parents hauled him around, first through Iowa and then around the country, to nurture his interest in cycling. Over the past decade, he grew taller, stronger, faster, fast enough to earn a spot on one of the biggest and best college cycling teams in the country. It probably goes without saying that I am super proud of how his discipline and dedication have led him from the local Thursday night races to racing in national championships. I'm also very curious about how a college freshman manages academics with the year-long non-traditional sport of collegiate cycling. So after finishing his first year, I invited him to the Bike Talk with Dave studio at Chain and Spoke Coffee to talk about his year. So without further ado, Lindenwood University collegiate cyclist, Brody Burnham.
I gotta pick up my mom from work at some point.
You're such a good boy.
I know, I listen, you know.
You do.
I get told what to do and I show up when I need to.
Listen, when your mom says what to do, we all listen.
Yeah.
You
can definitely hear it from anywhere, so.
For sure. Dude, Brody Burnham, welcome to Bike Talk with Dave. It's a treat to have you here. I've been wanting
Absolutely.
to talk with you kind of since you went away to college last year, but I wanted to give you a whole year under your belt at school to talk about life at college as a cyclist. I think it's kind of fun.
Very much is.
Welcome home.
Thank you.
Welcome home.
Well, I've been home for 2 months now.
Yeah, kind of. Home and then not home, and then home and not. You're still racing a lot, right?
Traveling. Finally got to the point where it's like, need to take a break, get back into it. So it's been home for a couple weeks, but.
Dig it. What are you training for, Ragbri?
Yeah, of course, no. I'm going to California the 17th of July, so a little bit over a week.
For surfing?
So, I wish. No, I've got a couple bike races out there. Doing a Long Beach race. It's a hot dog in California. It's their state championship, and there's a lot of money. So I'm going out there to staying in Redlands and with a college buddy, and going to go out there and hopefully do decent enough where I can get my name out there and get on a team next year.
That's awesome. So first of all, where do you go to college?
Lindenwood University.
And where is that?
St. Charles, Missouri. Pretty much St. Louis, just outside of St. Louis. It's a little interesting area. One side you got a nice area, old. The other side you don't really want to go that way.
Fair enough. So you keep your bike locked?
Yeah. Well,
maybe?
It's in my room all the time, so.
Yeah, that's cool. I want to talk to you about college, but to be honest, I'm blown away that we're even having this conversation now because I was there when you started. Yeah. And I want to go all the way back to that. Can I describe it or do you want to? I want to hear your description of you as who were you when you started bike racing and what were some of your first bike races?
I think my first bike race was 10 years ago. My dad was racing at, it's gone now. It's in Altoona. Spooky Cross.
Oh,
that was my first. I did a kids race on a little BMX bike, and my dad raced that day, and I was like, I'll give it a try. And I was like, I liked it, and I guess I haven't really looked back since. Kind of grew out of my fat pudgy stage, so kind of grew tall.
You did grow tall. You definitely grew out of your little short pudgy stage. And my first memories of you are at Race Like a Girl, which was our Thursday night monthly kind of criterium circuit track race series. I'm telling you what, man, like your mom and dad would bring you, and your dad would always like come up to me and be like, okay, make sure he's like safe and not gonna get killed. Like, don't put him in the wrong thing, right?
Yeah.
How old were you 10 years ago?
11?
8. Oh, 8. You're only 18.
I'm 18. I'm about to turn 19 soon.
Okay. Well, happy birthday.
Saturday in the road race. So.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Hopefully I can get a win.
That'd be awesome. Is Zimmer showing up?
I'm not sure. I heard his grandma died.
Oh. Okay. He will not be there. We just heard from Team mechanic, Ozzy. Thank you.
A little sad, but
That is very sad. That is. I hadn't heard that. Well, that sucks, and it sucks. He won't be there. But although you beat him at freaking Waterworks in April,
yeah.
fair and square, right?
Yeah, I kind of had a teammate there, though. I brought a friend from college down, and we came into there, like, wanting me to get a win. So it was, like, kind of working for me, and it kind of worked out the right way and got kind of lucky on the end. But it was a fun race. Do it again this Sunday.
Okay, again, we're literally talking about you beating freaking Matt Zimmer. Going back to Race Like a Girl, it was kind of a track race, it was super fun night.
Yeah.
Thursday nights were super fun, and your mom and dad would bring you, and you were this 8-year-old, I guess.
Yeah.
Pudgy little kid. And honestly, like, I went digging and I found some pictures from those days. Are you okay if I post those?
Oh, of course.
I love them. You're so cute. You just could not grab those cheeks.
Yeah, I have
super fun.
I was at college, and we had on our Instagram. They asked for us to send photos of us younger, and I was like asking my mom, and she just sent me like 20 of them. I'm like, oh my god, I want to remember these days, but at the same time, it's like I grew up, and it's like finally got to a place where I feel happy enough to go out and race and feel comfortable.
Yeah, for sure.
Strong.
What attracted you to bike racing? Like, you're freaking 8 years old and you're racing with, it's all adults there. We had, beer and festivities, and you're this 8-year-old kid, but you had confidence enough to show up and ride around in circles.
I think it's one of those things where I grew up when I was a lot younger around sprint cars and racing all the time, and we finally got out of that, and I think I always had that itch to do something in racing, and then when my dad kind of introduced it to me, I finally felt like I found something that I super duper liked, and I was like, well, I better run with it while I had it, So
talk about your parents, because everybody in Iowa knows both of your parents very well.
Yeah, they're very prominent. I mean, my parents, they've done very well for the sport, in my opinion. I mean, they've put on races. I feel like we have a problem with never saying no. We're sometimes too nice, in my opinion. When people need stuff, we lend it out, and I don't know. I mean, I couldn't be here without them. I mean, it goes all to them bringing me to all these races and giving me the opportunity to do what I love is one of those things where I can probably never pay them back. I mean, it's got me into college for Lindenwood and sports like that, and getting me scholarships for cycling. I don't think I could have ever done that without them. So I'm very grateful, and I feel like a little bit of everybody else is too, because got a great family like mine that does all this stuff. Like, I can't really explain how much they've done for, in my opinion, the sport of cycling in Des Moines. But
I can't disagree with you, and I would also kind of second that like, literally, it's not Brody showing up, it's Brody and his parents showing up,
Yeah.
and your dad's carrying wheels and spare bikes, and mom is, sometimes she's wearing the blue for USAC officiating, which is awesome.
She always wants to DQ me,
What are those discussions like at the dinner table at home?
I go out to fit my bike the other day in the cul-de-sac, and I didn't have my helmet on. She walked down, and she's like, go put one on. I was like, oh, sorry.
100%. I couldn't tell you how many times I've heard that from her as well. So, yep, I hear that. That's awesome. I'm curious, like, as an 8-year-old, you ride around in circles. You don't have any competition. Like, those kids, you weren't racing anybody. You were just on your bike going around in circles at Union Park. Why did you keep coming back?
I think I just loved it. I mean, I also I'd do those juniors race, and then I'd show up. I think it was the C race. There's about 5 people, and it was just having other people. And I think as I grew up, I kind of realized how the atmosphere was just great. I loved to be around it, and I couldn't complain about going and seeing my buddies, because I kind of had a hard time at school with having friends, and I think that kind of also pushed me a little bit to go out, and everybody was nice, and those were my friends. And it was just, I guess it could also been going out and chasing a medal, going out and just getting the medal and getting that accomplishment as I was younger. And I think my parents helped me with that, pushing me a little bit to get out there and ride my bike more and more, and just finally turned out to do decent, I guess, to where I've gotten. So
Yeah, do you remember the transition to like, oh, dang, I'm like in the race?
yeah, I think it was. I finally got a coach, and I started riding like a lot more, not just with my dad. And I finally grew into a stage where it got pretty quick. And then I, decided to go to nationals, and I think I was, what was it, 9 to 12. I was 12. It was in Louisville, and I like crashed on the last lap of the crit, and I was like in the front group, and I think that's finally when I realized that I was decent, that I could do pretty well in the sport. And then the next year was in Maryland Nationals, amateur nats, and I got crashed on the last lap as well. But
who was your coach? No, I don't. I've always said, like, I just want to be in the game. I don't care how I finish. I mean, you care how you finish, but I just want to play the game. I don't want to be either hanging on for dear life or like shot out the back faster than dropping a brick off a bridge.
Yeah.
And you must have felt like you were in the game.
Yeah, I mean, you go to these places, you're nervous. I mean, as much as people say they're never nervous, you always have nerves at national events. I mean, hopefully you can ask any pro and they'll say they're nervous. But I mean, I go to these places, and a lot of these places I go with no expectations, which I think's helped me like really do well. Is I go in with no expectations, and however I just do my best and hope for the best, and hopefully I do end up doing well, which recently has been doing me pretty well.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So how does it come to be that you end up cycling in college?
So I learned about that when I think it was my freshman year in high school. I had a couple friends. Tyler Reynolds ended up going to Belmont Abbey his first year of college. And I had a couple friends from St. Louis that also ended up going to Lindenwood. And so I quickly learned then, and I did a college visit at Belmont Abbey my sophomore year of high school. And I was like, I did not know you could get scholarships for cycling, and I did not know they did it in sports until these people went. And I was like, well, I'm going to go to college, get a degree, and if I can get some money off for cycling, I can't complain. So
what are you studying?
Right now it's computer science with a minor of pre-engineering.
Oh, cool. So you end up at Lindenwood. You just finished your freshman year. I picture you as kind of a roadie. Oh,
absolutely. Yep.
In college, they throw you. I remember, wasn't your first set of races like freaking track nationals?
Yep.
There's no track here in Des Moines. No. Had you been on a track yet?
So when I was 13, North Star out of Minneapolis, there's a track up there, or there was. It's got demolished a year or two ago.
Oh, I hadn't heard that.
But they had a track up there, and I got asked to go to a track clinic. And I was like, I can't pass that up. I was trying something new. I'm younger. It's like, got to do it. So I went up there, had a lot of fun, and it's so far away. The closest right. track is the one in Minneapolis at the time. And so it's kind of harder to go drive 4 hours on a weekday to go do their local
right.
Thursday night track. So kind of waited, and then when I got to college, or I guess before college, the coach asked me if I wanted to do track, and I was like, I mean, might as well try it. I mean, I'm also there 2 weeks early before college starts, so I mean, I get to be, kind of in my room and kind of settled in before everybody else gets there, and I think that helps me a lot as well. And did track. I did pretty good. I did, my third race ever on the track was track nationals.
That's crazy. That's the beauty of college, though. Like, it throws you in stuff that you wouldn't seek that out.
No, I don't think if I wasn't near one and they didn't do it, that I probably wouldn't be doing track racing. So I love it, and so I'm very grateful that I got that opportunity to do it, and I'll be going this year doing track as well. So
you love it. What event is it? What do you love the best?
I do not like mass start racing. It just scares me.
Fair enough.
I mean, I love the flying 200, which is how you qualify for match sprints. Even though I'm not the best at match sprints, I do. I mean, I like going fast. I can't complain about the 4K or the 1K pursuit or the kilo. It's fun. A lot of fun.
Said
actually.
No one ever.
No, I mean, I didn't have the best time this year at track because I didn't understand the rules the best, so it was kind of weird being. I mean, I got passed, and I did not know you couldn't get passed, and you just had to sit behind him until my coach is screaming at me while I'm sitting behind this person. And I'm like, I want to go around, but I have so much more. But he caught me, and it's like, well, I'm just sitting here. But I mean, all the events I do, I mean, I love. It's just you're on a fixie. You kind of just forget about everything else. You're just in your own little world. I can't complain, you know. It's always fun.
Yeah, that's cool. I love that. So go from that into cross, mountain bike, and spring in the road. Like, how has that year been? Like, what have you found about life as a collegiate athlete in cycling?
I mean, I kind of find it fun. I mean, it's not exactly like high school. You know, high school, you go to school for 8 hours a day, and then you come home and you train, and then you do a little bit of homework and you go to sleep. Like, I get my classes done before noon, and I go out and ride my bike all day. You know, it's fun, and then, you know, go eat lunch at 6 or supper at 6, and then you go do a little bit of homework, and then you go hang out with your buddies till whenever. And it's kind of fun balancing that having fun aspect with cycling and with, you know, your academics. It's a weird balance that you don't get anywhere else, and it's fun.
Is it? It doesn't. The way you just described it does not sound like it's a difficult balance. But is it difficult balancing life with school and cycling? Like, do those conflict much?
I think the only problem I've had was kind of towards the end of the year was, you know, we're racing every single weekend, and you're getting towards finals. And then you learn that we had to take finals early because we had to leave on a Monday to go to nationals, you know, at like 4 a.m. So I had to do all my finals a week before. And so it was like, okay, now I got to study a week earlier than I was planning on doing. And then I'm also training to peak. And so it kind of gets a little conflicted there towards the end, putting everything back together. But then you're at road nationals, and you're like, this is great. You know, I don't have to do school. And then you finally realize, you know, how much your life has been taken up by school. And then you get home and you're like, oh, I get to relax.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, everybody says that after, May 5th or May 15th or whatever. How about, like, you guys are gone a lot. How do they deal with you being gone?
Well, some professors you can only be excused for school, so only for cycling for Lindenwood. So when I go to race, and I had a teacher like that. That was it was my second semester, so I was almost gone every single weekend racing. And I like told her, because she at the beginning of the year, she's like, if you have 4 unexcused absences and your grades aren't good, like, we can kick you out of the class.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, that's the first thing she said, and I was like, whoa. So like right after that, I went up to her and I explained my situation. She's like, yeah, we'll work with it, you know, help each other out. You know, if I miss a day, I'll email her or I'll tell her a week in advance, and she'd be like, oh, everything's on Canvas, you know. Which is what we use. But then there's some teachers that are like, you just tell them and they're completely fine. They're like, yeah, just do whatever is on.
Finish the work and you're good?
Finish the work for the week and you're good.
Yeah.
You know, read through chapter 1 and you're like, okay, it's not that bad.
Yeah. So you didn't run into too many conflicts between professors and schedule?
No, it was just kind of towards nationals, you know, at the end of the semester where we had to take them all early. It was kind of a little conflicting just because you're like in a hurry to try to get everything done, and then it was just kind of a little bit of also studying so much that you're like a little overwhelmed, and then you're just like everything's coming down to the last minute and you're like, finally get it done, you know. Just a little overwhelming, but I mean, it could always be worse in my opinion, so right. I can't complain.
I'm sure I know the answer because I do know your mom, but how are your grades?
Oh, my grades are good. I mean, I had a 4.0 the first semester, and then I had a 3.8 the second semester.
Oh, you're really letting it slide. Is that on a 10-point scale?
Yeah. No, yeah.
Dude, those are great grades for sure. I mean, should be proud of that, even without cycling. Like, those are great grades. Yeah. Do you find the balancing a sport in college and academics, you're more disciplined in academics because you have to be? You can't let it slide because you got to ride 4 hours today or whatever. So do you plan better in your studies?
Oh, no. I don't
you are still an 18-year-old boy, right?
I don't think any college athlete's going to be like, our majority of them are gonna be like everything's like down to a science. I mean, I'll go out for my ride, and then some days, be like, I'll get my homework done and I won't study. I'm just kind of done with today. And I was like, that happens. But then, you're like Sunday night, you're like, oh man, I got to get this done. I got an assignment, it's 11 o'clock, and you're like, uh-oh. But, I think it's kind of always worked out for me, luckily. And I do need to get better at that. I have a really bad problem with procrastinating, and slowly getting better at that, but still, I mean.
You're an 18-year-old boy.
Yeah,
That's like
18-year-old boy.
That's like the definition of, I think, guy, period, but especially an 18-year-old guy in college. Do you have like a prescribed week? Like, what's the team atmosphere like? Do you guys go out and ride together, or is everybody like, I got to do 2 hours with X number of intervals today, and somebody else is like, I'm riding 3 hours with no intervals, and I'm in zone 1 today, I'm in zone 5. Like, is everybody on a different schedule, working with different coaches, or do you guys have like a cycling coach that's like, here's what we're doing today, tomorrow, and the next day?
Yeah, so a lot of us have our personal coaches.
Yep. And who's yours?
Matt Zimmer.
The dude you beat?
Yeah.
Okay, just checking.
Kind of finally nice to actually finally beat him.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I mean, some people do get coached by the coach there, but I have my personal coach, Matt. And I mean, a lot of us, like, we have a chat for just us A racers for the men's side.
Oh, you're on the A team?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Made the A team, luckily. Barely.
Yeah.
But we have some like team. Like, for instance, there's a team time trial at Nationals, and so every Thursday we have team time trial practice, and the people that are contending for it and the people that are like really good at like those efforts like go there, and we have team time trial practice. And every Saturday we have our team ride every Saturday. It's slower pace with race sections, and we have some team rides. I think we have mandatory Monday recovery ride.
Together? Okay, that's
all
cool.
And there's like all our BMXers come out, and downhill, like it's like 60 people on our team, and almost everybody shows up, and it's kind of cool.
St. Louis, Missouri, and you have a downhill team?
Yeah, we do have a downhill team. It's kind of weird, but.
Where do they ride?
So I don't know what it's called, but it's an hour-and-a-half drive.
It got to be a Mississippi River Bluff or something?
Yeah, it's down. It'd be south. It's south. I think it's south along the river.
Okay.
So I don't know where they go. I didn't do mountain bike this year. I don't think I will, because I'm a little afraid of breaking my bones.
Fair enough.
And I don't think I have enough, confidence to do that stuff quite yet. But they drive an hour and a half for like downhill practice, and they'll do like that, and then they have short track practice, and then XC practice, and all these kinds of stuff. And I'm like, oh, good for you. I'll just go ride my road bike 4 hours in the middle of nowhere in Missouri and have fun that way.
Yeah, that's cool. I didn't know that. And a BMX team.
Yeah, our BMX team is big now. I think we signed 4 or 5 BMXers this year already.
Huh.
So it's kind of, because we have a BMX track, I think it's like 15, 20 minutes away. And then we also have a pump track 20 minutes away in the opposite direction. But I know a lot of people like to go to the pump track, when they have their off season, just to go have fun.
Do you guys hang together?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we have like on the weekends we'll have gatherings at people's houses, because it's kind of cool. You have like a trailer-sized house with a basement, and so all cyclists will be in one house because you pick your roommates, and so everybody will kind of have everybody over, and just, you go there and you sit and talk until midnight, and you're like, oh man, time to go to bed, and wake up the next morning at 10 and go ride. So regardless of your discipline, there's good kind of intermixing between everybody. How many people on the whole team? I think now we had, I think it was 4 or 5 people leave this year, and we signed like 10, so I'm guessing it's close to 60 now.
Oh wow!
Which is, we're like
boys and girls.
Yeah, boys and girls. We're like the second or third largest team now, which is kind of insane to think about, because we have rugby and football, and that's pretty much the only other 2 teams that are bigger than ours.
Wow!
So it's like just one big happy family.
Yeah, that's cool. That's awesome. Coach, tell me about your coach. or coaches? Like, what's the situation?
So at college, I got Matt, so he's my personal coach. You know, he gives me all my rides, and he's got a lot more experience than I do, so if I, you know, have a problem with, I feel fatigued on certain days, or I'm not eating right, or I'm having certain problems, I'll just ask him questions. He usually knows a lot more than I do, so I get to learn that way. And then we have a head coach, and then assistant coach right now. Our head coach does like everything pretty much, and then our assistant coach is kind of there to do all the grunt work. As I
carry wheels?
Yeah, carry wheels, you know, pack the box truck for us for when we go to races.
Mechanic? Like, are they mechanics as well? Or what do you do about that?
He has mechanic stuff, but it's mainly ourselves that we do, or we go to a bike shop. The guy that was kind of doing all our mechanic work graduated. So I was kind of doing a bit of it, and I probably wouldn't let myself do work on my own bike. But if anybody wants to,
Ozzy, are you available this fall?
Always.
All right, you're in. I just signed you up. Well, by the way, we are at the Chain and Spoke Bike Talk with Dave studio here today. So any background noise here is the hub.
It's all Aussie.
It is all Ozzy who's building a bike. Jeff Hubin is measuring he's trying to get measuring a chain, trying to get his. That's not a single speed. That's my single speed. Your geared bike ready to roll. But anyway, thanks Jeff for allowing us to do this here at Chain and Spoke Coffee.
It's also unique. We don't have anything really in Des Moines like this, and I got introduced to my first kind of coffee shop thing like this in St. Louis, and so it was really cool. And it's kind of cool to see one here and kind of.
It's an awesome place. Like, I love coffee and bikes. It goes great together.
I don't drink coffee, so it's a little bad for me. But I mean, it's cool to come here and look at bikes, and just come bother Ozzy when he's trying to do work.
It is kind of nice. Like, his thing is set up so that we can heckle him as he's wrapping bars. We can heckle Hubin as he's trying to put that chain on. No, not that one. The other one. No, not. Anyway, thanks, Jeff, for allowing us to do this. Love Chain and Spoke for sure. So I got a question. You know how people who do the Ironman get an Ironman tattoo? Like, that race is significant in their life enough that they get a tattoo with the old Ironman logo on their calf. Yeah. If there's a race up to this point that you would put the race logo tattoo on your calf, what race would that be?
Oh man, that's actually kind of hard. I mean, I think it would be one of those things. I never won it, but
race like a girl.
Race? Oh no, that'd be a good one.
That would be. That's where you start. Yeah. Well, maybe Altoona, but
I think it definitely have to be like Snake Alley, just because how challenging that course is. And I've never won it. I've got many second places in juniors, and like this year destroyed a derailleur. But I mean, that's bike racing. But
that was on tape, by the way.
Yeah.
Dizzy Dillman got that on tape. That was awesome. Like, it actually, you see it explode right in front of him. So Snake Alley up to this point. So let's say in 20 years you're 48. How about in 30 years you're 58? Is that right?
Yeah.
That's not right, is it?
I'd be 48.
Man.
I'd be 48.
I'm 40 years older. In 40 years, when you're 58 and you look back, what race would you now say, man, I want to do that race, and if I do that, I'm getting that tattoo?
So I've always loved racing single speeds, and so what they do is, I think if you win, like they have a USA Cycling, like I think it's not part of USA Cycling, but they have a single speed national champs or like world champs or whatever. I think that would be super cool, even if I don't win. I think they brand you if you win, or do something like that.
It's a tattoo. No, they don't brand you with a hot iron.
Something else is
do not brand you with a hot iron. No, yeah, you're right. Single speed.
I think that'd be super
national
cool.
championships. Sunny Gilbert has the tattoo, and that was her first tattoo.
I think that would be super cool.
That's your life dream?
I mean, if I could say something, I mean, that's like, if I can say that I won that, that'd be super cool. I mean, that'd be probably one of those things where it's like that or like Unbound, it's kind of on the same level in my opinion. A lot of people won't say that, But I mean, Unbound, something like that would be super cool. But that's a long ways away.
Yeah, that is a long. Oh, I know. Tell me, it's 40 years. We just figured that out. Holy moly. Unbound. Is gravel part of college? Like, where's that fit in the college scene?
So we don't have a collegiate like season or anything like that with gravel, but I think that's coming soon. I think when I'm a senior, they're supposed to introduce like gravel scene, which would be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Do you like gravel?
I enjoy it to an extent. I mean, it's kind of like road, but not. It's a lot harder on your body.
Yeah.
It definitely pushes you to your limits. I've always had bad luck. Something always happens to my bike. I don't drop my chain or I get flats all the time, you know. But it's fun. I enjoy it. It's like road racing, but not road racing, a lot harder. It's always good for fitness.
Yeah. So you envision in the future there will be like a collegiate gravel championships?
Yeah, they're already talking about it. I mean, that's just gonna end up being the strongest person wins, unless it's a flat Nebraska race. But
I'm doing gravel worlds, and I've heard that's not flat.
Yeah, I heard that too. I thought it was like
flat Nebraska.
5,000 feet, but no, it's like 14,000 feet for 150 miles. So I was like, oh my gosh. So it's like Serum all over again, right? But a lot longer.
A little nervous about that. It's in August as well, but I've been told it's fun, so we're going to give that a try.
You got like 2 months, you're good.
Yeah, for sure. And D's on the back. We're doing tandem, and I got D powering up there.
Yeah, just coast, just unclip, just let her do it all.
I mean, that's all I did. I'm only paid to steer and shift. So we're good there.
There you go.
Speaking of D, and this is one thing that I want to talk about you and kind of where you came from and the values you have. Like yesterday, 4th of July, we did the quote-unquote REI ride, which was cash, and it was very cash. It was very conversational, which was nice. Double pace line the whole day. It was super fun, 60 people, and just great community. And then after that, there's an extra credit ride that sometimes gets a little spicy. Like once you get back to REI and you leave again, like the leash is unclipped and the dogs are ready to run free, right? And then they do.
Absolutely.
Dee's doing extra credit, and she's like, man, fireworks went off. And I was getting dropped and like watching the fast kids run away from me. And Brody comes around me and looks back and makes sure I'm on his wheel and eases me back up to the group.
Yeah, I mean,
where'd you learn that? Like that's very, very mature, confident riding.
I think I've finally grown to the point, kind of grew out of that kid stage and kind of matured enough to be like, I don't really have anything to prove to like other people, I know what I can do, and I mean racing, I got to race this next weekend, I don't really need to go balls to the walls and win some stop sign sprint that doesn't mean anything,
I keep track of all those points, Brody. I keep track. I still have my points from 1987, so.
Hey, there you go. I mean, like Tuesday night's a whole different side, but I mean, a lot of it's like extra credit is for, you to go get 30 more miles, and, people take it a little bit more seriously, and I just don't think I need to do that anymore. I mean, I'm fine at sitting at 250 watts for 8 hours, and I don't think I need to do a sprint with other people to be like, okay, I'm better than you, So.
That's awesome. Where'd that come from?
Oh, God, I don't know. I think I finally watched Zimmer enough not sprint to these Tuesday nights where it's like, I don't need to prove myself, I think I've finally gotten to the point where I feel comfortable with how well I ride at races that I don't really need to sprint for a stop sign sprint,
Proof is on race day.
Exactly. I mean, normally is, if you can't really, even though you're strong, you can't race this well sometimes, It's just part of racing. And I don't think a group ride and one sprint's going to be like, oh, you're getting on a team next year just because of one sprint sign. So just how I see it now.
Yeah. Speaking of team, who are you riding with this summer?
So this summer I'm riding for Rob. He owns Navewear.
Oh, right.
So I didn't get on a team this year, and so college.
Because you're so slow? I mean, is that why?
Absolutely. No, I kind of procrastinated it again, and
You are.
I didn't send
you
out
are
my,
an 18-year-old guy, so okay.
I didn't send out my cycling resume when I needed to, and so I didn't send it to very many teams because a lot of them were full, and so I sent it to very few, and they were full, and so I was like, man, I really don't want to buy new kits. So I was in between a couple people that I knew that like owned kits and like a company or something. I was like, Rob's always been, helped me out since I was very young, and I was like, what a great opportunity, because I knew he bought Navewear.
Mm-hmm.
So I hit him up and I was like, see if I can ride for his company, and he said yes, and so he gave me a few kits, and I've been racing for him this summer, and I think it's pretty cool to, I get fourth at a race and get to say Navewear, or get a call up front row and my name comes up and it's Brody Burnham Navewear. I think it's kind of cool. So, I mean, you get that exposure, and you also get to race for yourself and keep all the prize money and stuff like that. So, yeah, I've always raced solo, so it's nothing new for me, just a different kit.
Yeah, you always kind of have raced solo. You were always on a Devo team. Started with Demos, then, and I'm gonna screw it up. I feel like then you went to the Lamar's guys. Did you ride with them, or did you go to like?
I went to Spin Devo out of
Spin Devo. Okay.
And then I think I was on there for a couple of years, and then I went to North Star, which I had teammates at these big races, but all these local races that I race in every weekend, you don't really have teammates.
Right. I remember your dad talking about the importance for you to get some people to ride with in the races.
Yeah.
And you got that at North Star at the bigger races.
Yeah, I mean, it was nice. Like, I've won Toad my 15-16, and then my first year in 17-18. And I think a big help was I actually had teammates to actually race with that could actually race for me,
Right.
So it was definitely a big change of like especially going to college, having teammates and like actually having the role of working for somebody was also very fun. So
yeah. Was Charlie Townsend part of North Star Development?
Yep.
Tell me about Charlie. I've raced Charlie.
Yeah.
I've raced Charlie since 1986.
Yeah, Charlie's been racing. He's been in the game for a long time. Charlie Townsend he's the most knowledgeable person in, I would say,
Midwest.
Yeah, upper Midwest. I mean, I don't think you can have a different person that's good. He does everything. He does cross. I think he does a bit of mountain biking, does a lot of road. Going to these races, he would, hopefully you showed up an hour before, and that hour before, you'd go do a lap around the course with everybody in your race with him. And then you'd go and sit down and talk about what your plan is, and then go and race, and he'd give you time splits if you needed time splits and all this stuff. And I mean, I never really had that, so it was kind of a eye-opener to finally get something that I felt, I had people around me that I could use and utilize or work for them. It was just kind of a new area I never really explored until then. And
you're finding benefit of that experience now in college?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, sometimes you never, don't agree with your coach sometimes. You don't think that's the right way, but I mean, I feel like I go out there and I give my 110%. Like, for instance, Tour St. Louis, it's a time trial and 2 crits. My coach was like, okay, you're gonna be a workman. I think I went in, I was counting on my Garmin, I did 11 breaks. I was in 11 breaks in 35 minutes.
Jeez.
The first 35 minutes, because that was my goal, was to shut everything down for the first 35 minutes.
You sound like Nielsen Paulus.
Yeah. Yeah, he's been in everything.
Yeah,
so
he
far.
has.
But yeah, she wanted me to go do that, and she's like, yeah, you did 3 men's job and as yourself. And I was like, I've never really had that experience of working for someone else, so it was just like, I didn't know what to really do, and I guess I did pretty good. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. What is your hope for college? Like, you've got 3 more years left, unless there's a COVID year. I don't know if you'll get a 5th year. I think you started a year too late. Yeah. But what's your hope going through college?
I think it's possible, and if I keep growing, I really want to win a national championship. I think that's very far in my reach of doing eventually, and probably being a crit, because I mean, I'm a lot better at crits than anything else. But I think a national champion would be good. I think it's also one of those things where it's just, have fun. I mean, that's a lot of people have told me that is just go out and have fun, and I finally have learned to have fun more and actually enjoy stuff, because when you're little you get a little pressure and to do all this stuff, and you're just kind of training. And then I finally got to the point where it's like, I'll go on a ride, even though I have 3 hours, I'll go on a 2-hour ride with my buddy, and then I'll do an extra hour after and enjoy, and I think I finally got to that point.
That's good mentality right there. What about after college? Do you want to keep racing?
I think yes. I'm kind of up in the air. I mean, I do want to get my life started for sure.
So yeah, maybe right after.
Yeah, I think so. I have a couple plans in my head that I kind of want to do. I have my whole life ahead of me. I thought about moving over either to Europe for a couple months. I'm going. I think next year I'm going to try to go over to Europe for the summer, or for 2 or 3 weeks and race
with.
So I have a couple buddies. Shay Wright, he's from East Moline, so he's Davenport area. He called me up actually 2 weeks ago, and he's like, "What are you doing July 10th?" And I was like, "Well, I'll be racing, and then a week later I go to California." And he's like, "Oh man, next year you should mark that down. We should go to Belgium together." And I was like, "Okay."
You don't have to ask me twice.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna complain. I mean,
oh, that's awesome. That would be super awesome, actually.
Yeah, the best bike racers in the world are over there, and get my teeth shoved in every single race. But it's $5.
Right. I would get my teeth. I'm going to get my teeth shoved in for $35 this Saturday. So I get it. I totally get it. So I feel like you should tell Simpson and Dags that you turned down a trip to Belgium to do their races this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I also didn't have the money because I was building up a bike. But
fair enough.
We don't have to say that, right?
No, we don't. We don't. Tell me about your bike, by the way. It's gorgeous. I saw it yesterday.
Yeah, I bought the frame. I was just scrolling through Specialized's website, and I was like, I've always been. I broke my frame 2 years ago, and I got it repaired. And I mean, it's kind of one of those things where you try to gain confidence, but you're never really all the way there. And I've always kind of been looking for a new bike to get because of that. And I finally was just scrolling on Specialized's website, and the new frame set came out. And I was like, called my mom up that minute, and I was like, "Mom, there's new bikes that are actually in stock." And then 20 minutes later, I bought it.
Oh, nice. Good for you. Good for you.
So yeah, I bought a frame set, and then I got a lot of help from SRAM, Dan Jennings.
Oh, sure.
He kind of was the rep now. He's a regional manager for SRAM, and he's been helping me out and giving me codes for the Pro Purchase program or the Ambassador program. And
what'd you put on it?
I got SRAM Force all the way around. I got a cork power meter as well, zip bars. I also have Zip 404s coming in soon, so that will be nice to have. And yeah, that's about it. I mean, there's not much to it.
What was your drivetrain on your other bike?
So when you had junior gears, you couldn't run SRAM because they didn't make a small enough, unless it was cyclocross gearing or cyclocross front chainring. So the best thing to do is get a 5214 was Shimano, because that's the only one that made the cassette. So I had Shimano. I bought my old bike like that, and so Shimano Di2. Never really had too many problems with it. But
so Di2 versus the SRAM
E-Tap.
What do you think?
It's definitely different. The hoods are bigger on the SRAM E-Tap, and I'm slowly getting used to it, but I'm slowly liking it more and more every single ride. Nope, the hoods are just a lot smaller for Shimano. The shifting's a lot different. You gotta touch both sides to shift up and down on the front.
Do you like that? Is it weird?
It was definitely weird, but it's not bad. But it shifts very smooth.
Yeah.
I mean, super smooth, and it's actually smoother than my Shimano. But yeah, it's a new thing to kind of get the grasp of, and slowly getting there, better and better every day. Slowly liking it better and better every day. So it's nice.
Two things. One, if you're rear derailleur battery goes dead, you can take
Just
the front
switch it
derailleur
out.
battery and put it in the back, which is nice.
That is a lot nice. That's a lot more.
Part 2 of that statement is TJ Tollickson in today's episode that just dropped talks about running a 1x52 up front. And that's all I'm saying, man. Like,
That is
who needs a front
massive.
derailleur?
Yeah, that's
He did have a 33 in back, 52 up
Okay.
front. Maybe he said 53. 52 or 3 up front.
That is massive.
And a 1033 cassette.
yeah. I got a 50, and I thought that was big enough because that's equivalent to like a 5411. And I mean,
50-10.
50-10. Yep.
Yeah.
And I thought that was plenty enough because, I mean, in those sprints, you never really run out of gears unless it's a downhill or a tailwind sprint, and that extra gear would be very nice. And when you have Shimano, or I didn't have the new Shimano, Shimano's 12 speed. But yeah, I have a 30-10 with a 50. What does it come as, Ozzy? Is it 50?
34? 39?
50-34?
39. It's probably 39.
Something like that.
Ozzy, come on, man.
Come on. Get out of here.
I bet it's, I don't know.
Yeah,
34,
I know-
36, 39, somewhere in there.
I know Shimano makes a 39 or a 53-39, so it's got to be smaller than that, maybe. I'm sure it's like a 36 though. 50,
Who needs
36,
small rings
yeah.
anyway?
I mean, yeah, it just slows you down. 37, okay.
That's an odd number.
Look it up.
Thank you, Ozzy.
Different from everything else.
Yeah, I guess so. All right, dude. Well, I appreciate you coming in today. It's been fun chatting and catching up and learning about your life, man.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
awesome. I totally love where you came from and your riding now. Like, you totally could have given up and been disheartened when you're riding around in circles all by yourself. Seriously. And like, you freaking stuck it out. Your parents are to be commended. Everybody's like impressed with how dedicated your parents are to your progress. And I think that's transitioned to your sister now, right?
Yep.
Isn't she into hockey or ice skating or
Soccer.
something? Oh, soccer. Yeah, they're all over
yeah.
for soccer, which is awesome. They're great parents. But the fact that you like stuck out all those years and you're now like getting scholarship money and Dan Jennings is giving you SRAM deals and like you're planning a trip to Belgium next year is awesome.
Yeah.
So keep rocking, man. I don't know what your secret is, but whatever it is, keep rocking.
You gotta have fun, right?
Absolutely. Is that the secret?
Yes, absolutely. Just have fun.
All right, cool. Well, thanks, man. It's been a pleasure. Thank you to Chain and Spoke for being the hosting the Bike Talk with Dave studio.
Yeah, it's different. I haven't been here too often because it's kind of far from me in Altoona.
It
but
is.
It's always cool to come in here, and it's always nice talking to you. And I've never been on a podcast, so it was a new experience. So it was fun.
Awesome. How was it? Was it hard?
No, I mean I talk a lot.
You
so
do.
it's
I
not-
didn't think you'd have any problem with it at all. Nope, no. And then I got to do that whole editing thing at minute 20. That's my fault. All right, dude. Thanks tons, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you. Absolutely. Good luck to you as well.
Thank you. Jeff and Brooks like, oh, so what's your plan this week? I was like, never let go of your wheel. Like, if I can see your wheel at the finish line, I've had a great day. So hopefully I'll be able to see Jeff and Brooks' wheel. Sunday at Waterworks, I love that race. Saturday I'm worried about because of the hills, but we'll see how it
Me
goes.
too. I'm a bit bigger now, but
Yeah, you're still strong though. You can hammer up those hills. Who's coming? Do you have any idea?
there's 3 ABC guys: Randy, Rykart.
Are you racing Randy?
Yes.
Randy's been on a terror lately.
That's the one I'm worried about the most. I mean, Hayden Warner's always a good,
He's fast.
strong.
Yep.
And then I think Adam Vetlian. I think the hills. I'm hoping the hills are a little much for him. I have a friend from Missouri that goes to the same college that's coming down, so hopefully I can kind of work with him to have a little bit of luck against three ABC guys. But
Yep.
you can never count out Adam. I mean, he's big
Super
and powerful,
strong.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Big and powerful are the right words. That's awesome. Well, good luck, and
thank you.
we'll be anxiously watching. See you, dude.
See ya.
Thanks much to Brody for coming in and being so open and giving us a peek into the life of a college kid juggling cycling and his studies. Managing both seems to me like managing two full-time jobs. But he sure seems like he's handling it all very well, excelling in studies and on his bike. If you or someone you know is interested in collegiate cycling, it's not an NCAA sport, but it is coordinated and managed by USA Cycling, and information can be found at usacycling.org/college. Just Google it, you'll find it. And if you're interested in the Lindenwood cycling program, just head to lindenwood.edu/athletics. Now, I'd like to thank you for tuning in today. If you enjoyed today's show, I would love it if you would rate and review on your favorite podcast platform and give us a follow on Instagram and Facebook. When you do, it really helps grow the show's audience. Now, if you really love the show and you want to see it continue and thrive, feel free to support it financially. Just look for the Bike Talk with Dave podcast at buymeacoffee.com. When you do, I would love to send you a sticker. Now, I'd like to thank both Chain and Spoke Coffee as well as BikeIowa.com for supporting the show. BikeIowa.com is the online host of Bike Talk with Dave. BikeIowa.com has one of the most extensive lists of cycling events anywhere, from monthly training races to trail rides and everything in between. Bike Iowa has it all, including the Core 4, which is on August 19th. I'm planning on being there to tackle the gravel, the single track, the pavement, the B roads, everything. Check it out. Are you looking for your next epic cycling adventure? We've got one for you this summer that challenges all the surface types. When the folks at Core 4 say no surface untouched, they mean it. Champagne gravel, pavement, speedy single track, and all the level B roads. Core 4 doesn't stop at 4 surface types. They've got an ethos to get all bodies on bikes, and it comes through initiatives which support socioeconomic justice, gender equality, and bike advocacy. It's all about community, opportunity, recreation, and engagement at Core 4. Go early, bring the fam. They've got everything. Bikes, bevs, packet pickup party at Big Grove, live music, free camping, and finish line fun for all. Do not miss the No Surface Untouched action in Iowa City on Saturday, August 19th. 100, 50, and 25-mile options. Follow along on Instagram at Core4Bike and get in the lineup. Core 4 sounds super fun, and I hope to see you there. And maybe we'll also run into you at Gravel Worlds on August 25th, where Dee and I will be sailing our tandem through the gravel seas in the 75-mile version of the Gravel Worlds. Remember, you can find Core 4 and so many more events, gravel, mountain bike, road, whatever you like, at BikeIowa.com. Thanks again for tuning in. Tune in next week as we talk with Michael Marks, founder of the Belgian Waffle Ride. And in 2 weeks, as long as I get my act together and get my editing done, tune in for my, what is now, the annual Ragbri Spectacular. Catch all the sights and sounds of the great bike ride across Iowa. And remember, you can find every episode and stream them right from your computer or whatever your device from anywhere at biketalk.bike. Have a safe and joyous week.